Hello and welcome to Newscentre. With me, Parikshit Luthra. There were several unprecedented situations, mainly the COVID pandemic, that have reversed the global human development by 5 years. This is what a United Nations report has said. For the first time, human development has declined globally for 2 years in a row. 9 out of every 10 countries registered a decline in their Human Development Index score in either 2020 or 2021. To make things worse, the report's outlook for 2022 is grim due to the impact of the Russia and Ukraine war on energy and security. India's decline in human development mirrors the global trend. The country's HDI value has also declined for 2 straight years. India ranks 132 out of 191 nations. India's score has dropped 1 point since last year. India continues to be in the medium human development category. The UN report attributes this drop to a slump in life expectancy from 69 to 67 years. However, there may be a silver lining. The impact of gender inequality on human development in India is lower compared to other nations. The report also says that India is bridging the human development gap between men and women faster than the rest of the world. Let me go across to our special guest this evening. We're joined by UNDP's India representative, Shoko Noda. Shoko, thank you so much for joining us here on CNBC-TV18. Give us a sense of how the pandemic impacted the Human Development Index with reference to India.
Thank you very much for the invitation and the questions. So the pandemic is definitely one of the severe crises that the humans are now facing. Other crises such as climate change and war, and these crises are all global. It is not localized, so it is impacting human development across the world. India is not the only country which is facing this decline. 90% of the countries, as you rightly said, around the world are facing this decline due to this multiple array of crises. And 5 years of setback. That means that we started this SDG, 15 years of SDG years, but then we are back to the starting point. 2/3 of countries have faced a drop in life expectancy. 95% have suffered the income decline. And as I said, India is not an exception. India's value for 3 out of 4 human development indicators have fallen: life expectancy, expected years of schooling, and gross national income per capita. School closure definitely during the lockdown is definitely affecting this education the indicators decline. Also brutal, I would say brutal impact of waves of lives and livelihoods and pressure on already strained health system. These are all the challenges that we are facing. As you said, this year India ranks 132 out of 191. And but I would also like to say that it is important to look at the human development values more than ranking.
All right. Shoko, I'd also like to ask you, the report says that stress, sadness, anger, worry have been increasing over the last decade, now reaching record levels. What, according to you, were the key drivers, and how was the population in India impacted, according to your report?
So crises are intersecting and also overlapping. As I said, definitely COVID was one of the crises, but when we look at the climate change, when we look at the war in Ukraine, they are all global, not localized. So therefore, each crisis has global impact as well as the impact on individuals. So the pace of crisis is much faster than before, as we can all feel. And we are, as individuals, as well as countries, as well as communities, have not faced this fast-paced crisis, therefore are not fully prepared to face the crisis, let alone the managing the crisis. Therefore, the impact on people's stress, people's worries have increased.
Okay, just to also speak about your recommendations for the future. In the report, UNDP has said there cannot be business as usual and there needs to be a focus on 3 I's with reference to India: investment, insurance and innovation. Could you elaborate on how these 3 need to be focused on by the Indian policymakers?
Yes. So as I said, 3 I's are suggested in the report: investment, insurance, and innovation. Investment, yes, it is happening already, but more needed to be spent, for example, in renewable, because climate change crisis is imminent. So more renewable energy is needed. Also, more investments on disaster management. I know, again, the government is already working on it, and it has good capacity, but we still need to have more, the robust capacity. And then, of course, investment in health sector, because this pandemic is not going to be the first, but we may have more pandemics. So a preparation for future pandemics is also extremely important. And here also, when we say investment, it is not only from the government. Private sector and the public sector have to work hand in hand to see where the financial gaps are. So the investment is extremely important. Second I is insurance. And when we talk about insurance, we just may think of just that, health insurance, something that we have. It goes much beyond that. This concept of insurance is much beyond that. It is about, basically, social protection to absorb shocks at individual levels, and then also to support the most vulnerable groups, such as women, but also other vulnerable groups. And India has a number of those policy schemes, social protection schemes, and I think that worked very well during the pandemic, and that needs to be expanded and also strengthened. Innovation is the third.
All right, Shoko.
Yes.
Yeah, Shoko. Shoko, you've also spoken about in the report how Sri Lanka, China, Bangladesh, Bhutan have scored above India in the Human Development Index. On what parameters did they score above India?
As I said, that the scoring is not always or ranking is not always the best way to compare countries. I think we do need to look at the Human Development Index itself. Each country, you mentioned some countries, but each country has its own challenges as well as strengths. So when we look at the ranking, and then when you said other countries are doing better, that is because of the different country context. But I think it's very important to see the trend of human development values, especially in India.
Okay, when it comes to gender inequalities, what more can India do to bridge gender inequalities at the workplace and in different sectors?
Yes, the good news, as you mentioned, is that India is narrowing the gap between male and female human development index achievement, and this is faster than the world. So this is excellent, though the gap remains quite large and larger than the global average. The worsening of gender inequality in India is much smaller than it is in the world. It reflects government commitment on putting the gender agenda up front and the center and across policy and programs. So this is an excellent policies and programs. However, I think we still do need to have expansion of skill programs for women to support their participation in the workforce. Because when you look at the participation of a women's participation workforce, it is one of the lowest in the world. So we really need to have even much more robust package for women to join the workforce and be economically empowered. And then second,
Right.
India, yes.
My final question. Yeah, my final question, what according to you are the areas that India needs to work on for the future? Challenges to India because of the geopolitical situation, inflation and other economic headwinds?
I think India should focus on, as I said, inequality that includes gender, but to support other vulnerable groups, because it is very important to have, how to say, the very healthy population. So, for example, the health investment in health is extremely important. And India, for example, has already brought a very innovative way to support the population to get vaccination. India is spearheading that digital space. And for example, the COWIN is like the globally flagship program that the UNDP was very pleased to be part of the partner with. But that inequality and then investment in health is important, so that once we have very healthy population, they can also have much better education, can focus on education. The kids can focus on education. And also when they become adults, they can have much, how to say, they can earn more. Therefore, the human development index, human development in India will improve when we focus on health, and then also the inequality.
All right. Okay, Shoko, Noda, thank you so much for joining us here on CNBC TV18 News Center, giving us a sense of how India fared on the Human Development Index and areas that India needs to work on for the future as well. We're heading into a short break, but coming up, an exclusive interaction with Power Minister R.K. Singh on India's green energy push and much more. Don't go anywhere.